Yo, what's poppin' Pokepals? Rare Boy here, and I'm back with another impossible Pokemon challenge. Today we're gonna find out if it's possible to beat Pokemon Gold using only an inverse Shuckle, where its offensive and defensive stats are swapped. This challenge is part of a new series on the channel where we take niche Pokemon from the Pokemon universe and give them move, stats, or even abilities to see how they would fare if they were unintentionally used. Before we can even begin today's challenge, I first need to edit Shuckle's stats so its offenses become its defenses, which means we are going to hit like a truck, but we're going to be made out of paper. We also aren't touching our speed or HP stats, so we are still super slow, which means we won't be getting the jump on our opponents, so this should be interesting. Now that we've edited our stats, let's review the rules of today's run. The first rules that I'm only allowed to use are inverse Shuckle in battle. We are allowed to capture other Pokemon for HM usage, but they cannot assist Shuckle by any other means. The second rule is that I'm not allowed to use items in battle. Held items such as leftovers are okay, but items such as hyper potions are banned until the battle has ended. And finally, no glitches will be used to complete this game. It's just a normal playthrough of Pokemon Gold, but with an inverse Shuckle. With the rules explained and our Shuckle modified, let's jump into some gameplay. The first thing that I do is pick up our inverse Shuckle from Professor Elm's lab. For this run I replace Cyndaquil so our rival takes Totodile for even more of a challenge. I nickname our unique Shuckle Elktunes because it's a backward Shuckle. With Elktunes on the team, it's time to conquer the Johto region. I wanted to show you all the rival fight just so you can get an idea of this Shuckle. Look at how much Rap does! Our one saving grace is that we are a rock type, which means we resist most of the early game attacks, but that's going to quickly catch up to us. For now, this is smooth sailing, but I anticipate this is going to get very tough early on. Sage Master Lee was actually kind of threatening. Shuckle can't do much against special attackers because withdrawal only increases physical defense, so the neutral hitting Vine Whips were taking some good chunks of our health away. Thankfully, we finished the two Bellsprouts off quickly, as Hoot didn't have much to retaliate with. An interesting fight. We received our first loss in the run against Faulkner. I tried getting some residual damage with Rap against Pidgey, but we kept missing, so I just started setting up my withdrawals, as Pidgey started opting for Mud Slaps, lowering our accuracy. I finally got the little bird down, but even after 4 or 5 withdrawals, Pidgeotto still hits us like a truck with neutral gusts, and on top of that, he landed a crit. I'll come back at a higher level. I try again at level 20, and this attempt went beautifully. Pidgey missed his first tackle, as my Constrict lowers his speed, allowing me to outspeed him and encore his tackle. Once he was locked into tackle, I spammed withdrawal to max out my defense and took him out. Thanks to the defense boost, Pidgeotto was dealing almost no damage to us as we took him down in 3 hits. First badge acquired. I went straight into Bugsy, and now you can see just how weak of a move Constrict is. Even though our attack stat is already in the triple digits, we still can't even 3-shot a Metapod. Thankfully, he only knows resisted tackle, so I can take this time to max out my defense before finally taking him down. Cocoon is an easier matchup as he's part poison type, makes our newly learned Mud Slap neutral against him, but he poisons us with his first Poison Sting. It doesn't really matter though, as even with maxed out defenses, Scyther easily picks us off while we hardly deal any damage to him. Let's try the rival fight instead. The rival fight isn't any better as Croconaw can easily 2-shot us with Water Gun. Looks like I have no choice but to level up our Shuckle. I tried Bugsy again at level 30, and just like the last time I maxed out my defense on Metapod. I misclicked at one point and used Mud Slap on him, but even with the accuracy drop, he didn't miss a single tackle against us. That's okay though, as we were still pretty healthy when he went down and Kakuna came in. His Poison Sting thankfully didn't poison us this time around, and we one-shot him with Mud Slap. Last out of Scyther, and thank goodness we maxed out our defense, because his built-up Fury Cutter would have easily taken us out without it. Not an easy fight, but certainly not a difficult one either. Our second attempt at our rival wasn't much better, but we managed to pull out a narrow victory thanks to the aid of my last berry. Hopefully we can start getting Shuckle some better moves, and soon, because this moveset isn't going to cut it pretty soon. To prep for Whitney, I taught Shuckle Dig and Headbutt through TMs, and gave him the Quick Claw. Although the Quick Claw didn't activate in this fight, we won with 2 Headbutts. Did you see how much damage we took from one rollout though? If our headbutt didn't KO Milk Tank, her second rollout would have easily taken us out. Morty is going to be a pain once again in this run because of Curse and his Pokemon all having ridiculously high speed stats. With a few more levels and the Quick Claw activating against his lead Ghastly to prevent Curse, we might be able to get through this before level 50. Hopefully. It took quite a few attempts, but I finally got a run where Quick Claw activated on both Ghastly as well as Gengar, which allowed me to get the jump on those two threats. Once those two were down, Morty stood little to no chance against our Shuckle. Chuck's fight had me worried because Poliwrath has Surf, which would probably one-shot us, but we thankfully didn't get a chance to find out as our Quick Claw activates against him and we can one-shot him with Headbutt. I'll replace Headbutt with Return pretty soon since our friendship should be maxed out by this point. Quick Claw was easily the MVP in the Jasmine fight. It activated turn 1 to avoid Thunder Wave with Dig as we knock out her first Magnemite. Steelix miraculously survives a Dig after missing an Iron Tail, and as I went to KO it with Rock Smash, Jasmine healed. Quick Claw activated again, allowing me to avoid another Iron Tail as we take out the Metal Snake next turn. Last out was Magnemite, who depleted about 3/4 of our health with one Thunderbolt before falling to a Dig. When we get to trainers with more than 3 Pokemon, this challenge is going to be really scary. All I have to say is thank God Game Freak gave Price's Pokemon the literal worst movesets ever, because if any of his Pokemon knew a stab move other than Aurora Beam, we'd be toast in this fight. But they don't, so we took them down without breaking a sweat. Before going into the rival fight, I brought some vitamins for Shuckle to top off his stats, which helped, but this still wasn't a walk in the park. The mandatory trainers at this point still aren't too threatening, but once the Elite Four hits, it's going to be a bad time, I can tell from now. Okay, it's time for another grind session because Claire's Pokemon do huge amounts of damage to us with super effective Surfs. I'll come back at a much higher level. At level 65, we're still getting outsped, to no surprise there, but we are also getting 2-shot. I'll aim for level 70 and then rely on Quick Claw, but I refuse to grind higher than 70. Well, it turns out I didn't have to pass 70 because on our first attempt, Claire opted for Thunder Wave instead of Surf, and then Quick Claw activated on Kingdra. We then proceeded to mop the floor with the rest of her team while sustaining minimal damage. Well, alright then. Our final fight against our rival went swimmingly, as the only damage we sustained in this fight was against Feraligator's Water Gun, which still did a good chunk of damage. Other than that though, there was nothing to worry about. Here are our stats just outside the Elite Four, and as I suspected, our offenses are the highest I've ever seen, while our defenses are lackluster, and our speed is almost non-existent. We do have a solid moveset for this run, and the Quick Claw to help with our speed, but we are going in with a wing and a prayer. Let's do this. Will is going to be an absolute nightmare because of Confuse Ray. For those of you who don't know, when a Pokemon hits itself in Confusion, the amount of damage it deals is based on the Pokemon's attack and defense stat. And what stat is super high in this run? Attack, which means we effectively OHKO ourselves if we hit ourselves. I went in again at level 88, not for damage output, but to try and outspeed Will's Pokemon, and it didn't help. But Quick Claw certainly came in clutch this time around as we defeated Will with little to no effort. I was expecting Koga to be an insane issue with toxic shenanigans, but we outsped all of his Pokemon and with one built up rollout we rolled over his entire team, pun intended. I'm sure Quick Claw was activated in this fight as there's no way I outsped Crobat or Venomoth. Yet another easy fight against Bruno as we only took damage from Hitmontop's Dig and Onix's Rock Slide, which dealt some great damage to us, I'm not even gonna lie. I can foresee Lance being the issue in this run, and he's quickly approaching. Never mind Lance, Karen is being an issue between Sand Attack lowering our accuracy and Vileplume paralyzing us with Stun Spore. If we didn't keep missing it and getting paralyzed, we probably would have won this fight. Let's try that again. A few attempts later and we finally managed to beat Karen. We still got our accuracy dropped by Sand Attack and missed a few of our Earthquakes, but it didn't matter all that much as we still managed to persevere through this fight. I'm actually really surprised we beat Lance on our first attempt. The Quick Claw RNG was phenomenal, and Lance made some questionable move choices which helped lead us to victory. Our rollout chain even broke at one point, and yet we still won this fight. The Rock Slide miss from Aerodactyl also helped, of course. I'm just at a loss for words at how easily we won this final fight. With that underwhelming victory, we register Shuckle into the Johto Hall of Fame, but we still have red and blue to take care of, so let's see how that goes. I don't normally show the other 7 gym leaders in Kanto because they're usually easier than the Elite 4, but this time around Misty is an actual threat, as her entire team not only outspeeds us, but knows Surf to completely wash us away. We finally made it to Blue after trekking through the other Kanto gym leaders, and all I have to say is, note to self, don't begin the fight with rollout. I'm also going to max out my level for my best chances against Blue and the upcoming Red fight. Not even at level 100 are we safe from the wrath of Blue. We get obliterated by Gyarados' Hydro Pump. It's not even 100% accurate, so I still have hope in this fight. On my very next attempt, Gyarados just refused to go for Hydro Pump, and the Quick Claw activated against Alakazam, so it was an easy fight once the circumstances were right. On to the final fight with Red, so we can wrap up this challenge. I don't know if this final fight is possible, y'all. We get straight up one-shot by Blastoise. I'll keep trying and show you all my best possible attempts, but it's not looking hopeful. This attempt did, however, make me hopeful. As you can see, once we get Blastoise down, it's just a matter of Quick Claw activations on Charizard and Espeon. Not impossible, but certainly a challenge to say the least. It took me, I don't know how many attempts, but we didn't just beat Red, we swept him. There was a ton of RNG that went into this fight, but I'm so glad that after like an hour of attempts, I finally beat Red and officially can claim I beat Pokemon Gold with a power-tricked Shuckle. I knew this challenge was going to be interesting as we had the highest offensive stats of any Pokemon, but also subpar defense and the lowest speed of all Pokemon. The Quick Claw was the MVP of this challenge, as without it, we most certainly wouldn't have gotten as far as we did in this challenge. I hope you guys like the idea behind this video. I'm trying to mix things up for the channel, so leave a like if you like the idea behind this video. Speaking of challenges, for my next impossible challenge, we're going to find out if we could beat Pokemon Fire Red using only an Impidimp. So if you don't want to miss that run, be sure to subscribe and stay tuned. Also, be sure to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. In the comment section, I want to know what your favorite part of today's run was. This has been your boy Rare Boy, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace!